Some people want to know my thoughts around the bank failure in America of Silicon Valley Bank and Silvergate. A lot of people are calling it a financial crisis, something similar to 2008. I don't agree, but what I do believe is, and might surprise you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ashley. On this channel, Ashley in Africa, I talk about my experience moving, living, and doing business here on the continent of Africa. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, what some may call or know as the financial epicenter of doing business here on the continent of Africa. And I'm also the founder of Africa Investors Academy, a membership-only community of entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and investors who are working on building their businesses and investing in projects here on the continent of Africa. So welcome to the channel. If you're not new here, welcome back. And if this content is helpful for you, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and also share it with someone who would find value in it as well. And so, I'm going to share my thoughts. I don't necessarily think this is the financial crisis of America. However, there are a ton of other reasons why people should be paying close attention. I mean, we talk about it. I've been talking about it for a couple of years. We are now in a global economy. The world's most powerful economy is no longer just one country. It's no longer just one commodity. It is no longer one way of doing business. And so people need to be paying attention to this. The stability of any society is dependent upon its civilians and its citizens' trust. How many of you out there trust your government to keep you safe, to keep you healthy, to keep you educated? And furthermore, successful people do not depend solely on a government for their success, for their safety, for their education, for their healthy. You take it into your own hands. The most successful people utilize government and the systems that they provide and then create their own rules, right? So many people are doing that. And if you're not doing that, let's get started. Okay, let's get started on taking control of your life and what makes you feel good, what makes you feel whole, and getting insight from people that are doing what it is that you want to be doing. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about this, bank failure and what ultimately that means for the greater economy. Okay, so, there are some points to consider for people in the US. Bank stocks are down. So while every bank hasn't put out, a call to action, and most won't, right? The bank stocks are down. And the reason why there is maybe some risk of contagion, potentially, it's going to be specific to these regional and potentially these corporate-based businesses, banks, right? Because Silicon Valley Bank was a bank specifically in the venture capital space. And so this industry is going to be heavily affected, right? I think there were a ton of companies that released their exposure. And as of now, we do know that the Federal Reserve is going to honor all of those secured investments. Those who had $250,000 or less, they will get access to their money. People with a bit more access to those investments, I think they're also getting their money. But this is something that, we should be paying attention to. And so while certain companies are going to be drastically affected in their ability to pay payroll, I think what we can look out for is a potential, increase in layoffs, right? And so, this is something that is just a bit tragic, because I just feel like there are so many incredibly talented Black tech founders, Black technologists, and we know the deal. We're always like the first to go, right? So this is absolutely where I see the biggest issue happening, and it is more so in the tech space. Now, banks that were Also it had a high exposure of crypto, also kind of are taking a hit. But because the regulatory environment doesn't really kind of pay attention to that, we're not really hearing a ton from the mainstream media. But this absolutely, in my opinion, isn't anything as similar to what happened in 2008. But I do think we should be taking precaution and we should be paying attention. As I mentioned in the beginning, do you trust your government solely to make you whole? And if so, that is a problem. The idea is that we utilize the government systems and we utilize what is for us and what is in our hands and, gives us access to a choice-based life to make our own rules. And so let me just talk to you about kind of how I've done that. This isn't advice by any means. This is just information. And, if you have been following my journey, you've heard of me starting businesses in other countries, opening bank accounts, the struggles with all of that. But yeah, these things aren't easy to do, but they're necessary in the world that we're living in, where the global superpower is essentially no more, right? It's an illusion. We now have an opportunity and should be absolutely taking advantage of entrepreneurship as a means to be sustainable long term, as a means to really have a level of security, because when we're able to create our own income and our own lifestyle, we can flourish beyond what we thought, right? So these traditional jobs, and even as the tech sector is paying, 6-7 figures, where you do have a large population of Asian, African Americans making high paying jobs, getting high paying jobs, making a really high income. We cannot bank on these companies being our fallback plan, our plan A, B, and C. Right? We have to figure out what we can create to sustain ourselves, our families, and our communities. And so how have I done that? Well, I have residencies in multiple countries, right? I have banks in multiple countries. I am, banking at about 5 different institutions in 3 different countries with 3 different currencies, right? Not including crypto. Okay. And so my next steps are acquiring land, because no matter what, everybody has got to eat. Everybody has got to eat. And so how are they going to do that? Agriculture. So, these are the things that I'm doing. These are the things that are open and available to you. And, if you have an interest in building a business outside of the US, I'm going to link some resources below, and I'd love to work with you one-on-one. I think, I plan on calling an emergency meeting for the Africa Investors Academy, because I had a couple calls this week with folks and helping them diversify their banking. And I'm realizing that so many people are not doing this. And so I'm going to make sure that in our next call, the Africa Investors Academy, that I walk through step by step on how to create these, putting our money in different places, how to open a bank account abroad, even when you're not abroad, how to make sure you've got crypto in a wallet, and what that looks like, as well as your traditional investments like insurance, stocks, investment accounts, Roths, IRAs, and the sort, right? Making sure you're properly tax planning so that you can get the most out of your tax benefits as an American citizen, and making sure you have your passport and multiple passports if you qualify through lineage, through real estate investing, because the time to diversify is now. So I'd love to have you in the academy. I'd love to work with you one-on-one. Those links will be below. You guys are getting me straight from the gym. So gym hair, gym face, gym clothes. But I had to come on and share this content because it's timely and it's just something that we need to be doing. I'm telling you, I'm here in South Africa. I had a call with my attorney in Tanzania, and everybody is investing here on the continent. There's no reason why you shouldn't be, even if that means maybe a short-term Airbnb rental or even just opening up a bank account with different currency. You can do this. This is not anything extraordinary. It's just something that you have to get comfortable with and do your due diligence, do your own research. I am just a resource. And if you have an interest in working with me, I'd love to support you on that journey. So until the next video, I'll see you soon.